What's up, Rockstars? Today I have a great video for you and a puppy that's gonna yawn. So I have a huge video here. It's the biggest update I've ever done. There is so much to cover. So many just controversial things, so many new things. It's kind of insane. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna let him sleep. This is Sawyer, by the way. He's the latest person in the King household, so feel free to say hi to him. And you'll probably see him in the background plenty over time, but wanted to introduce you, right? Yeah, he's probably hungry. And let's go ahead and get started into the video. Alright, now as always, I'd like to have a quick shout out to my patrons and YouTube members. It is through their financial support that I'm able to give you this kind of honest, raw, unadulterated feedback and criticism and coverage of the board game industry. That's because none of these companies pay me any money. I do not get any money from any game developer, so that I can be completely honest when I'm talking about them to you. So if you appreciate that and that level of independence from the game companies themselves, there's a link down below to both of those, the Patreon and the YouTube membership, if you so choose. But if not, that's fine too. A simple like and a comment. The AI loves that. It helps the channel out. It helps me out. And it lets me know that what I'm doing is beneficial to you in some way. So if you appreciate it, do let me know. That's the best metric I can have. And I love talking to you guys. You guys know that. I'm going to spend hours down there in the discussions about all of this stuff because there's a lot to talk about. So let's go ahead and get to it. Starting things out, we have Tiny Epic Dungeons. Now, this is one I actually didn't cover, and then lo and behold, it's at like over 1 million, which is great for how cheap is this game? Print and play version's 10 freaking bucks, but only like 57 people want to print it out. Let's see, only 167 at the 25, which is the retail version. If you go the deluxe Kickstarter version, there's 849 backers at 30 bucks. So where are all the backers at? Aha, the gameplay all in at 40 bucks. So at 40 bucks, 17,883 backers. It's 40 bucks. 40 bucks is nice. I was part of I was almost part of the zombie one, but I opted out against it when they had the tactics, super tiny tactics, or tiny epic tactics. I apologize. I'm a big Final Fantasy Tactics fan, a tactics fan like that. I played the old front missions, Advanced Wars, Final Fantasy Tactics, all of those, I can never remember how it's pronounced because I was a kid, but the ones that start with the Desaiga, liked all of those. Really big fan of the tactics style video games, and was like, oh sweet, there's a board game tactics finally. I always wanted that. And a Tiny Epic, it is tiny, and it's fairly, I didn't get the epic out of it. It was fun for a few play sessions, but that's about it. It's not something I'm going to be playing all the time. So I think with this one comes with miniatures, and there are 28mm miniatures, by the way. As long as you don't go in expecting super duper great miniatures or a super deep and complex and intriguing game, if you're up for like a very light game that is better than its size, you would think, but this is not a normal dungeon crawl. It's not going to have that kind of oomph. Then you should be good to go. But at least based off what I played with tactics, you could get a few sessions out of it that are pretty nice, but other than that, you'll probably end up going to the normal stuff. It's not bad, I guess, if you're really strapped for space. I've never been that strapped. Like, we've been up to a cabin and camping and all that stuff, and I've had more space in a board game that I needed than this, so I was kind of okay with it. It's not bad. It's just, I don't know. I would spend $40 to upgrade Bard's Song or something like that that's kind of out there now with the dungeon crawl feel. I think Master of Darkness 2 is also on there. It's probably give you a little bit more oomph. But if you want that tiny experience, then this is probably pretty darn good. Or if you're just sitting on 40 bucks, I guess. I don't know. And I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, my opinion. Let's go to Candy Wars, talking about this campaign. In fact, there's a few campaigns like this I'm going to show where they're just not picking up speed here. So this is at 13,000. They need 30. They're at 218 backers, and they're after the first 2-day kind of hurrah thing. I'd covered this. It's my daughter's favorite game. She loved it. All of my kids enjoyed this game. It was a lot of fun for them. It's by the same designers that did stuff like the Arcadia Quest stuff, and you can kind of see that in its game and in its design. It's one of those games where I would not personally pick it to just play on a Saturday night with my buddies. But for family night, it's kind of hard to... My kids play a lot of board games with me. But I have to kind of pick and choose based off theme and complexity, and a lot of times I end up helping them a lot and stuff like that. It was nice to play something like Candy Wars and just be able to enjoy the time with my kids, and that they're super into the IP. That's the other thing too. I think they accommodate me a lot, right? Because like they'll play Conan and that's all right, but or whatever. But then it's like Candy Wars. They were like all in. They were like, I got a jelly bean launcher, and I mean they were loving it. So I think for a family game, this is great. And there's just a lot there, and of course the 3D tiles and everything like that's cool. Honestly, I think it'd be fun to paint too. I think I really enjoy this kind of style when it comes to painting. It can be a lot of fun. It reminds me a little bit of Stuffed Fables. It has just the amount of detail that you need to make it interesting. They're all like the Oreo cookie bases, which are kind of funny. I think I'm kind of sad to see this actually struggling, because I actually had quite a bit of fun with this with my family. I think it's great for that. So anyway, by the way, there's a link to all of this down below. Like everything I'm covering, look down below in the description. There's going to be a link there for you guys to conveniently use. Okay, following up with them. Oh, and I wish them, of course, the best success. All right, next up we have Orconomics 2nd Edition. This is actually one of the games that they came to me and they're like, hey, would you like to look into this? Would you like to play and all that? And I had to say no, just because I don't have enough time to look into everything. Sadly, I wish I had more time to dedicate to this channel. Trust me, I do. But I do what I can. And honestly, I think it looks really, really cool. This reminds me of Oddball. I don't know if you know who Oddball is. It's from video games. And they have like these like corporate alien guys that are like like in suits and stuff like that. And it just reminds me so much of that, with these kind of like businessmen orcs in a great way. I think that's awesome. So very cool design. I really dig that. It looks very pretty. Don't really know anything else too much about it, except that it looks cool. That being said, it's sitting at 19,000 out of 10,000. I imagine they were hoping for more from this. So under 500 backers, successfully funded. That means they're probably going into stretch goals and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. Just again, we start with the Tiny Epic Tactics, like over 1 million, and it's kind of this dinky little $40 game, and then you get like these full-fledged games that are just like struggling. And I think it's kind of interesting. What's the price on this one? $50 for $10 more, you get an actual full game, and not like a miniaturized version of a game. Ooh, I don't know, man. That's a premium edition. Is this? Oh, that is a premium. It's just $50. Well, shoot. Okay, well, I guess there's that. So, yeah, if you want another cheap game, Orconomics apparently is it. My goodness. All right, moving on. First controversy. Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. This is the first of several. I don't pick them. They just happen and I report on them. So, is what it is. This is by Cryptozoic Entertainment. They are known for other branded board games that you see, like the DC deck building game and the Walking Dead game, and then a whole bunch of other crap. So I actually love the IP. I love Batman. I think The Dark Knight Returns has some of the worst art to ever grace Batman. I do not like the art style at all, but it is what it is. I think they might have it down. They have some of that, like that's Robin. There's Batman on a horse. I don't know. He's like the Joker's. It's weird. It's just like there's Batman. He looks kind of, but he's working for the government. Whatever. It comes with like Batarang dice, I guess. So there's that. Another cheap game, $60 for the base game, but you're gonna want the deluxe version, which is $100. $100. Now, I will say right now, do not expect great miniatures. In fact, I would expect better miniatures from Tiny Epic Dungeons than I would from this Batman game. Just putting it out there. In fact, anytime you see bases, like anytime you see Army Men bases, which is what that is, you should set your expectations accordingly if they're using Batman bases. Or not Batman, Army Men bases. You know, you get a little pack of 100 Army Men for like $5. There you go. Okay, so about these sculpts. They're stocky and thick and all that, which is good because otherwise I wouldn't trust that they would be any good, because I'm sure it's going to be really soft plastic. And it does match the art fairly well, I think, as as well. It's very peculiar art, except they got rid of his big nipples, but which I just want to say big nipples in a video, I guess. But no, I mean, so some of them are a little kind of, changed or whatever odd, but again, like you see the art they're dealing with here. Like that's the art. Again, I hate the art in this series. I don't like it. It just weirds me out. Nothing else. Okay. Anyway, and they're unlocking some stretch goals and stuff. The issue comes with like this sculpt, right? Or this sculpt. Now, Arnaud, did the sculpts of this game. He also did the sculpts for Batman Gotham City Chronicles. Like this guy, right? He does some great work. I love a lot of his stuff. So yeah, this Arnaud Boer. I'm not gonna try. I'm not even gonna do the last name because I respect you enough to not butcher it. So how about that? I'm tempted, but I'm not going to because you guys just laugh at me. I'm struggling with the first name anyway, but that's just me. Okay, so he's done now 2 different miniatures for Batman, right? Now, as a programmer, as a software developer, I understand the best code is the code you can reuse, right? The best code is a code that you don't have to just write once, right? If you're going to make a website, well, why don't you make a bare bones website and then you can just plop stuff and change it into there, but at least it gets you started. You're not starting at 0, right? That's the whole idea. Or if you're building a thing that traverses data or does whatever, or accesses files, or whatever it is you're doing, like ideally you can reuse it. Reusable code is awesome. Everybody loves it. Art is normally a little different. So if you look at his pants here, one thing you'll notice is the creases are in the exact same spot. So I'm actually going to try and pull this out. You can see some of the issue here. So you'll notice that there's, the thicker crease here, there's the small crease there, the small crease there, the angle there, the crease there, the crease there, the 1, 2, inverted 3, 1, 2, 3 creases there. This one might be a little different because I see 1, 2, 3, and here I see 1, 2, and then a third one coming in that way, but it's very, very close. You'll notice that they're also bent just about the same. Then you'll see the crease here, and then the crease there, and then over here you'll see the 3 creases there, and the 3 creases, and it just keeps going on and on. These are the same pants. Now, if you're talking about the 1% that's changed, it's still 1%. These are different pants. They fit the same. As far as I can tell, they look about the same. It's really, really darn close. And then, of course, it's the same pants on almost the exact same pose. It's very close with the closed fists, arms like that, right? It's not exactly unique in that sense. Now, of course, different artists have different styles, but I have seen Arnaud do a lot of sculpts, and a lot of them are really, really cool and really great, and they definitely don't look so derivative. The fact that they are both wearing suits, right? Or it's just, like, these are very, very close sculpts. And it's just kind of unfortunate to see that. So then, let's go ahead and go to the next one, and we have this guy, right? This is from Wayne, Bruce Wayne from Gotham City Chronicles. And then we have this guy, the Joker. So let's go ahead, put that side by side again. And now, again, as you can see, we have the bent knee and the bent knee and this bent knee, this arm out, that arm out, both wearing suits, and they turned the head. Regardless of if it is totally unique. And again, you can see creases here are different than creases here. Okay? So you can, it's a very similar fit to the pants, right? Obviously, you see the crease here and the crease here is the same. But the overall sculpt design of bent leg on the left, and then a back bent leg here, and then arm, fist there, then arm, fist there. They added a sword and turned the head kind of. Like, do you see the difference? I talk about how like a lot of companies will do this to have multiple arts, but normally it's in the same game. The fact that these are now 2 different Batman things, sculpted by the same person, they're different games from different companies, and they have obviously at least reused at some point. And what I mean by that is, like, you don't start with Bruce Wayne, right? You start with kind of a skeletal kind of buildup of a person, and then you add on the clothes. So what they did is they took this, they changed the clothes, and they cinched the waist, and, they made it match everything, right? I'm not saying there's no work here. Obviously, they did the Joker face and all that, and he does great work here, but To say that these are different sculpts are... Again, it kind of reminds me of Army Men, where it's like, it's the same dude with the binoculars, but they changed, like, the patch on him, so he's now, like, part of the, European forces or some junk like that. It is unfortunate to see them so close. They are not the same. Even those really close ones, right? Even this one, which is, these paints are a lot closer, right? Really close to this. It's still not quite the same. But, in my opinion, thinking on how these are made, it started out from the same base, right? It's kind of like that code base I talked about, where it's like, these are different websites, right? It's kind of like every WordPress is different, but they all started from the same WordPress theme, right? And then somebody put the images on the right instead of the left, or, whatever. And so it looks to me like he used the same sculpts that he did to not start from bare bones 1, step 0, and then built off from there. Instead, he took stuff that he thought would fit this one and then added that. I do not think he did it completely from scratch. So you can kind of think of that as it is. It's just it's unfortunate. I don't think it's even necessarily bad, though. It gets a little weird ones for different companies. But again, I know contractors, program contractors that do that, right? If you ask them for a website, they'll whip one up, but it's the same one they whipped up for the last guy too. So it just sucks when you notice it, right? It kind of steals a little bit of the magic, I feel. Okay, moving on from that. By the way, that's a freaking sweet... again, look at the art. Oh my gosh, it's terrible. I hate it. Ugh! The mini's much better than the art. That is a freaking sweet Oliver Queen. Oliver Queen's always cool, but the whole one-armed dude, that's awesome. It's a cool story. It's a really nice story. So you should definitely read the synopsis of it, or and avoid the art if you can. That's bad art. Okay, let's talk about the One Ring role-playing game, 2nd edition. This is the Lord of the Rings. Officially, TM copyright will sue you if you do anything wrong. Lord of the Rings role-playing experience. And it looks good, and it's doing well. 1.5 million. The art looks fantastic. It just looks good. I do not play tabletop. I don't play role-playing RPGs like this, right? It's not my style. I like a little bit more structure and mechanics to it than this kind of like very free. Like if there's an option to tickle someone, I'm out, right? Like that shouldn't even be an option. I don't care if somebody can think of it. I don't care if you can think of how the initiative roll would work on that. I don't know. It's not for me, but it is for some people. I love role-playing books. So even if you're not role-playing, like hear me out. They are some of the nerdiest books you can get. They have beautiful art. They're well crafted. You read about all sorts of nerdy crap. Like scrolling down here. So this is coming from a person that took a Tolkien class in college. I've read The Lord of the Rings several times, or I've read The Silmarillion several times. I watch a whole bunch of YouTube people go way into depth on like Middle Earth and everything that Tolkien did. And it is what it is. Don't judge me. And so I'm scrolling down here and then I see nameless things. I'm like, they are going legit. Like, that's cool that they have just pretty much everything. Now, I've never learned the language. I played Lord of the Rings online. I don't know if that counts or not, but, seriously, this, like, they're definitely going into it. So that's awesome to see. Really excited to see this. I think that's great. I'm tempted to get it again, just, let's see, how much is it? God, they have this $36, $298. Such big numbers. That's a cool roll set, and the starter set and digital PDF. I don't want PDF. I gotta have the book, right? So it looks like it'll set you back about $60 to get the hardback book. That's tempting for just how cool it would be. I mean, look how beautiful it is. They put so much effort into these things. It's insane. I love RPG books. I don't even read them book cover to cover, but I love leafing through them every now and then, just kind of diving into that world. I think it's awesome. So yeah, there's that too. Okay, next we have Eternal Champions Judgement. This is coming spring 2021. The Judgement is something that I've been told to get into several times and never have, because again, I just don't have enough time to do follow up on everything. Great looking minis. They're making this, actually, this was like a tabletop game, I think like Warhammer-ish kind of thing. And they've made it essentially into a Kickstarterable board game. Look at that art. Oh my gosh, that is good. I love it. I like everything in this. There's not one thing wrong with this bit. This is a fantastic... Yeah, okay. Yeah, get out of here. This looks great. If you look at some of their sculpts, like this look, I love it. Look at it, it's like freaking sucking his soul out. Amazing. Or this guy here, he's like freaking summoning these guys out from the sculpts look awesome. If I can get my hands on some of these to show them to you, I will. Trust me, they look super cool. Definitely into that. Let's, is it spring yet? This looks awesome. Like, look at this, his face and the clench, it looks good. All sculpted bases. I don't know if you noticed that or not. And now you can see what you can do with bases. How good they can be when you actually include them in the sculpt. How dynamic your poses can be. It's wonderful. It's awesome. That looks super cool. I'll keep you updated. Moving on, we have Shadow Tactics. Now, you may have thought, well, King Howard, you covered Shadow Tactics way back when you were working on a script and your videos were a lot shorter. Well, that is true, but they're back again. So they have not delivered. Instead, they are essentially having a quick campaign before they launch the next one. I have heard Storm Center is thinking of doing the same thing for their Wave 2. I don't know if Madara is. I don't know if Succubus Publishing is doing that as well between their waves. I think we might start seeing this more and more often between waves. And it kind of makes sense, right? Because it's like you have this new stuff and everybody has their other stuff and you want kind of more people to come in and you can open up the Pledge Manager again and that's great, but there's not a lot of line of sight to that. Whereas Kickstarter, you get eyes on it, you get people like me talking about it, you get people like you browsing it, right? And all that kind of stuff. So you'll see a lot more traffic on Kickstarter. So I think it kind of makes sense. I'm not actually totally against it. The issue here is that they never delivered the first one yet. This is now 2 Kickstarters for the same game that is undelivered. Now that is where I don't think that's right. I think they should just deliver the game. Like don't mainly because again, also all the effort that was put into this, and this is different than their first one, and their first Kickstarter that is, right? And it takes effort to write 11 updates and to do all these 11 updates could have been on the original one for the original people that are still waiting for their game. I don't think this was done maliciously or anything like that, but it is unfortunate. I have such a big focus for me is on making your game and delivering it, and just deliver on your current promises before making new ones, especially if you're unlocking stuff. That just gets really iffy. It just, yeah. Again, I'm fine in between waves where you've actually delivered something. I'm a lot less okay with 2 Kickstarters for the same game that's still undelivered. Deliver the game, and then again, ride that hype wave. By all means, launch the other 3 things that you're launching, and they have an FAQ where they talk about the new stuff, and I think they even if I go here, they'll have why do you have a second campaign? And they'll explain it, right? They got some add-ons. They got the revamped game. That's great. That's awesome. Good for the people who originally backed it. Focus on them. And then they said, this won't affect, the shipment. It'll still ship the same. That is technically a gamble that's kind of based off bullcrap. If they had 10,000 backers, it would be delayed. They would have to go make more. They couldn't have anticipated that, and the factory couldn't have either, and they would have had to go make more. So maybe they could have shipped the old ones of that, but then of course they probably would have unlocked new stuff. It just gets really messy. You don't know the future, but the moment you're opening up to new people, you run that risk. So that's why most people lock the campaign, because then it's okay, now we know for sure how many there are, and we have a very defined scope and whatever. Anyway, so it's available though. So if you did miss it, it is there. Me complaining about them not delivering it before writing the other one, it doesn't make this one go away, so you can still get on this. And on the positive side, again, it wasn't a Pledge Manager, so I was able to see it, so I covered it. So, I guess that works. I just would rather it be between waves. Okay, moving on. You know how Marcin and them said that GameFound was going to trickle, right? They're just going to have a few. Well, they have a lot. There's a lot of GameFound stuff. I'm about to show you several games. I'm talking more than a handful of games that are going to be launching here. Big news here. Modiphius is making a Skyrim board game. Now, I have the Modiphius Fallout Wasteland Warfare. I have the Skyrim game. I've played the Wasteland Warfare and quite enjoyed it. It's actually a very cool board gamey tabletop game. I like the way they do their add-ons, stuff like that. The Red Rocket Scenic set is great. The whole faction in a box thing is awesome. I like that. Their miniatures are very, very nice. And again, the gameplay I thought captured Fallout better than anything else because you had like the camp building, and you had co-op against the AI, and you had solo, and then you had versus, and you had campaigns, and you had one-offs, and you had army building, and it just there's pretty much anything you want. You do the crafting, you gather resources and all that kind of stuff. They captured Fallout really, really well in there, and I'm assuming they did in Skyrim as well. For it to be a board game, that's interesting, so I'll be interested to see what that looks like. They are also really big on STLs, so that's also great. I don't know if they'll be doing that for Skyrim here or not. Be quite interesting to see. I would definitely, and it says 1 to 4, so you probably will have a solo mode. I will let you guys know. Maybe I can see this early. I'm not sure if they're even doing that. If they are, I would love to show it off because I think that's super awesome. But that's coming to GameFound, not Kickstarter. Again, we have Robinson Crusoe Collector's Edition. And this one now just shows 2. Before it showed 3, which is interesting. So, again, 11,000 people are following this. This is going to be big. It's going to be 23 days, so I'll be covering this for a while. But they are doing a deluxe version. They have Awakened Realms doing the miniatures, and I was able to tell this before I was told, just based off the filter and the amount of like ridiculous detail that won't match. And I'll talk about that here actually right now. First of all, if you like Robinson Crusoe, they can now have minis. My understanding is minis are pretty much pointless, but you can have them anyway. It looks very pretty, so there's that. Okay, let's talk about this right now. So, I guess first we'll talk about detail here. So you see like the scratches and stuff on her glove. They always do stuff like this where it's like super duper detailed, right? And then it just doesn't like when you get the miniature, it's not gonna look like this. Okay, it's just that's not how renders work. And every company normally has some loss between render and miniature unless they are very focused on only rendering it based off of the technology that's available and the money they're willing to spend on the miniature and realizing that's going to be this small, right? There's some loss of detail. Awakened Realms have a larger loss of detail compared to, some others. My issue here is when I see stuff like this and I see this dude right here, he's fully dressed, he's got his apron, all that, and she failed to put on her shirt more than a third of the way, right, where she's got like one sleeve and the rest is just there to show her in a bra so you can see some boobs. I have seen this several times, and just in miniatures, nonetheless art, and it's so... it's so overt that it instantly snaps me out, right, and I'm like, oh, this is a cool miniature, this is cool. Oh, okay, well, there's some pandering there. Anytime that you see those movies or shows or art or whatever where it's like stuff's torn just perfectly and it's like, oh look, her shirt makes a nice little frame for her boobs, and it just I don't know. I think that's super silly that this dude can get dressed fully, but she, I guess, didn't know how to put on her shirt all the way. And maybe that sucks. Maybe all she knows is how to saw trees and she doesn't know how to put on shirts, or that she wears overalls just so that she cannot wear them fully. And maybe that's just her style, is just not getting dressed fully so she can show her boobs off. And that's just her. I don't know. All I know is that it's not just her, because I've seen it done before, and I'm tired of seeing it, honestly. And it's not that I'm offended. It's so, to me, it snaps me out of the theme right now. That like if you want to have everybody raggedly clothed, like Kingdom Death Monster, when you start out, like, which I own, okay, again, I'm not offended here. And you start with your survivors and they're just barely clothed and draped. Like, I get that. That's the whole point, is you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to like go find food and shelter, right? And clothing and all this other stuff and armor. And that's like the whole theme here. If everybody is ragged, that's fine or whatever. But to have, like, she's got goggles and gloves and satchels and tools and all this stuff, and no shirt for her. I noticed he's not. Where's shirtless Dan over here? I don't know. It's silly. I don't know what you're doing, Awakened Realms. Let's talk about Peterson Games. Peterson Games loves campaigns. It's funny, he has games in his name, but he really should say Peterson Campaigns. Because he has done, he's getting close to 40. And I think about half of them at least undelivered. He's done everything from selling rocks to energy drinks to, I mean, I'm not even kidding here, to single off miniatures to whole games. Here, they figured, you know what, why not add 4 new games? And it gets to the point where, like, not all of these games can be good. There's nobody that's just like, I'm just making gems left and right. They're all amazing. Like, I don't... If you wanted a guy that is pretty much opposite of my make games, not campaigns, it's probably Peterson. He's like the anti make games, not campaigns. He's like, make more campaigns. Let's sell a rock. And then fail to ship it to everybody. They all involve monsters. They all play different. They're different games. I believe you can use the minis between them, I think is what it is, but I don't know for sure. I don't know. This is a weird one. This is definitely a weird one, but it's there too. It's coming out in 9 days. How about Gaijin? Hope I'm saying that right. Beautiful art. Like some of the best cyberpunk art I think I have seen. Nobody knows too much about the gameplay. That doesn't look fun. It's by their light version, Awaken Realms Light, Late. Again, the artwork looks great. Me personally, I keep falling for the artwork because the artwork looks fantastic. Yes, please. And then I get the game from Awaken Realms, and I'm kind of like, eh. Like, I went all on either fields, and that is one of the most basic games I've ever played. It's the walking simulator of board games. So if you don't know what a walking simulator is in video games, it's a game where you just walk around, and that's the mechanic, is you walk up and you learn, you're just finding out about the world around you. So you pick up notes and you listen to different audio tapes and you do stuff like that. But otherwise it's literally just you moving the stick and pressing a button every now and then to look at stuff. There might be some like puzzles involved. That's literally either fields. Like what I just described is either fields. So, definitely light on the gameplay. It's barely a game. It's more of an experience, and I'm tired of experiences. I want board games. So I probably won't back this. I've been burned enough, but it does look pretty. So there is that. Next up, Mythic Battles Ragnarok. We now have cover art. It's got a wolf on it. I'm instantly liking it. I'm down with that. He's getting stabbed, poor guy. I feel bad for him. Now there is a date here. I want to make sure I get right because I say it sometimes and it's wrong. March 23rd. So March 23rd we'll be seeing Ragnarok. Again, looks freaking awesome. Love the red and the blue. Love the depth of it. It all looks cool. Love Thor over here choking out a guy and then also breaking that guy's shield. Like anybody who can take out two people at once is awesome. So that's good. Looks cool. All right. Next we have Super Fantasy Brawl Round 2. Here's some of the minis here. They look really cool. I think they're fantastically designed. I always impressed by them. Love the cat person here. You can tell these are 3D prints. You can see some of the layer lines sometimes. It's a little bit early there. They do have a person in a wheelchair. My daughter loves people in wheelchairs. She helped one of her classmates who was in a wheelchair get around for a whole year and really enjoyed that. And it's cool that they're doing that now. If you noticed, way back, Candy Wars, guy in a wheelchair. This is becoming a thing that just kind of everybody's doing. So I still appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. But it's no longer oh look, they're like being so progressive and like accommodating everybody else. It's like it's just not special anymore. I guess if that makes sense. It's not like I'm not going to make a comment like, oh my gosh, they're so accommodating. I think it's great. It's just, now that's common, which is good. It's good. It's just, and I love you guys know, I love sitting miniatures. I love that her feet are together, by the way. I think that's a nice touch. And that, she's still also super duper cool, of course. And it has a sweet wheelchair too. Anyway, that's coming out here soon as well, so we'll be covering that. I'll be showing that off, and it should be pretty darn good. Okay, coming up, we have Monster Hunter World, the board game. Long title, but it's what it is. Yeah, 1 to 4 players. I guess we'll see it when it comes on. But it now has a preview page, so you can click that notify me on launch, know exactly when it is. Again, all the links down below. Stardew Valley, the board game. Sold out. Is it still sold out? Nope. Oh, currently sold out. Yes, still sold out. But by all means, you can take a look at this YouTube video and read up about it and all that. Looks super colorful. Looks really tiny, by the way. Like, it looks like a very small game. Like, this box, I'm assuming, is like that. Like, it does not look big at all. So just FYI, don't expect like it's some huge game. It's a little game, but still super awesome. It's sadly, as somebody who like played Terraria and all that kind of stuff, I never ended up playing Stardew Valley. I know I'm sad about it too, but it is what it is. Next up, we have Disney's Gargoyles. That's coming as a board game now. You remember that, right? Everybody remembers 90s IP. Everybody wants 90s IP stuff, right? Well, here you go. Here's some of the minis. You can look at some of the minis. They look... these are renders, not minis, so just FYI on that. Expect what you expect. If we look at... This is by Ravensburg Games, and if we look at what they've done a whole bunch of crap I've never heard of, like Disney Princess Enchanted Cupcake Party Game. And Teddy Mix and Match. And Snail's Pace Race. In other words, they are like a game farm of normal retail drivel. Scotland Yard Jr. Hot dog. Oh man, I've been looking forward to that forever. They did do a Disney Villainous though, and I know that one was quite popular. I don't know how much of that was IP. You always wonder on that. Sometimes people are really big into it, but I mean, they got Busy Town. Yay! See, they've already done some great Hocus Pocus, the board game. Yeah, let's do that. Why not? Sure. It looks like a lot of junk, to be honest. But I know people have played Villainous and like it, so I guess there's that. Yeah, if I keep looking, I'm going to say worse and worse things. These all look terrible. But if you want Gargoyles, you're going to have to buy it from them anyway and hope it's good. Or hope that your love for the IP makes it good, because that can happen. Next up, speaking of IP games, Master of the Universe Fields of Eternia, coming to Kickstarter. I would like to officially announce that Archon contacted me, and I will be able to show this off to you guys. So, even though I am an American, and this is European only, I will be able to cover this game and talk about it, which also means that eventually I can get the Command one and compare the two. Though I doubt Command's going to send me an early copy of theirs. They're a lot less friendly with honest feedback. They would rather have the kind that are in bed with them. So, as long as you play ball, they'll work with you, but they don't work with me. So, could be because I have a video calling them evil. I don't know, but whatever. Either way, Master of the Universe Fields of Eternia, you can see kind of a sense of it there. There is a sign-up page. You can link down below on that. I'll send that to you. And you can kind of see, here's Castle Grayskull, and, you have all these different areas that you'll recognize, and you'll be able to kind of go around there. It looks like, this looks to me kind of like a Rising Sun kind of Titans kind of thing, an area control game. That'd be kind of interesting. I'm not sure exactly how it'll play. These are individual, like this is one player, this is one player, this is one player. So this looks like 6 players. So does it get up to 6 players? That'd be kind of interesting. I'll have to let you guys know. I know the minis look cool. Next up, this is actually an update for Ankh. Now, I haven't covered Ankh in a while. I just wanted to give a huge shout out to how awesome these tokens are. I talked about in my top 10 Kickstarters that premium product and how great it is, and how Command will sometimes do what they're doing with like Zombicide, where you're going to get kind of crap crap cardboard and, single piece kind of miniatures, and it'll just be kind of very bare bones generic stuff, but you'll have a lot of it. Then they have stuff like Ankh, where they don't throw everything in the kitchen sink at you content-wise. Instead, what they do is they increase the quality. And as you can tell, getting these are going to be awesome. I mean, these are very, very nice looking. Again, it reminds me of Rising Sun. It reminds me of Blood Rage. It reminds me of Hate. All these games that just get super... Look at that. They look great. Fantastic. You can see some scuffs here already on the 6. I don't know exactly how well all this kind of gold will be on there and stuff, but they look really, really good. Really good. I did not back this game, so I will not be playing it. I don't like player elimination of any kind, typically. This did have it at least. I think maybe it doesn't anymore. I don't know. It changed. But these look cool. So props to that. I think you guys are in for a treat when that delivers. It's going to be awesome. Hopefully the cardboard's better than Bloodborne. All right, now another thing I wanted to bring up was Bloodstone was canceled, and it was canceled at about 200% of their funding. A little bit less, but just a little bit less. And they're going to be relaunching in the summer. So if you recall, Bloodstone is this kind of arena PvP with some PvE stuff. Again, it's the same genre as Wild Ascent, or because it's a boss battler campaign, or even a arena similar and stuff like that. I think other people questioned perhaps the amount of content that we're getting for the price. It's about $125 for kind of the base game, and you get a handful of people to choose from in the PvP, which means you'll kind of see that out fairly quickly when it comes. There's no real sense of like an army build or anything like that. And then the boss battlers, and that seems very bog standard in that it's pretty much like Primal, but without all the kind of advanced stuff on top of it. And so anyway, that was my issue with it. It looks like it's probably a fun game for the plays that like a reviewer would do. I believe everything Alex said, and I think Quackalope said some stuff about how fun it is too, and I'm sure it's fun. It looked fun to me. I like the whole giving bad dice and stuff like that. Like, it seems cool. One thing you're doing, by the way, when you get a game and you're reviewing, is you don't normally know the price. And so you don't normally know how much it's doing that. And it's very hard to get a sense of, especially with a prototype, what it'll eventually be, right? Because, there'll either be a whole stuff, that's like, oh, well, that's not ready yet, right? So I don't know if any of them even played the boss battle. They probably just played the PvP version, I would imagine. In which case, again, I'm sure they had fun for the few sessions. It's like, will it be fun 12 sessions out? And that's really hard to gauge. So I'm not saying anybody was wrong here. I think it's probably a very fun game. It's just, I think the content was a little bit like, at least me personally, that's what I had an issue with. I think other people had some other stuff with it. But either way, it has been canceled and it'll be coming back. What I did want to quickly rant about, because I actually don't mind that they canceled it. So James Hudson talks, and he's still got a little bit of that Texan accent, and he definitely sounds nice, and he looks cool, definitely above the average me. But that's that's a low bar, I suppose. He talks about how it's not about the money. It's about the experience. And that's such marketing bullcrap that it really annoys me. I keep it real with you guys, right? And sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I'm right. Sometimes I call stuff crap. Sometimes I call stuff amazing. I just call it how I see it, and I talk plainly, right? It's not exactly the most PC thing. It's not exactly the most... I'm not trying to make friends with the industry, or even with viewers that might have a different opinion than me. I'm just sharing my opinion unadulterated, and that's just kind of what you get. And I don't mean it in a mean or a negative way or anything like that. And I talk loosely, so when I say crap, I just mean bad. I don't mean it's like literal crap, that belongs in a toilet. I just mean it. I don't think it looks good, right? So anyway, with that said, I appreciate upfront stuff, right? So I don't get why, in fact, I wrote something when I first saw this, and I wrote it within like a minute. Alright, so what I wrote just very quickly is, so we successfully funded according to our set goal, but it's financially irresponsible to release so close to cost for a minimum order. So while possible to create, we believe we can make the game bigger, better, and reach more people, and in turn fund more to make a healthy profit for our company if we cancel this and release later after we take in your wonderful feedback. Thank you for helping make this game as good as it can be. We promise we won't let you down. Is that so hard to say? You're not doing the whole, it's not about the money. You're a business, of course. If it's not about the money, you're a stupid business. Of course it's about money too. Money's a big part of it. As a backer, I want you to make money because it means that you can go premium. It means you can do all that stuff. It means I have more confidence in you delivering a product and not just falling under. We're looking at IDW right now struggling as a company just like overall because of some other stuff they did, and it's affecting their board game stuff. Us as backers want the confidence that you are financially responsible. It's not a bad thing. It's not, I don't think it has to be a taboo thing. No, if you say it like in a crappy way, then yeah, right? But if you're just real and honest, be like, you know what? You guys had some great feedback. We're seeing that we're not getting the traction that we wanted. We both want to make this a super premium product that we can afford and, do well with, and then invest in the company and potentially, expand this in the future perhaps. And you had some great ideas. So we're going to take some time and integrate that and then come back with a better value that you guys will all appreciate. So you guys will get a better game and we'll get to reach more people. Like, it's not that hard to say. I don't like the whole, it's not about the money. Anytime a company says that, they're full of crap. It's just the way it is. And it's not bad. It's fine. It's fine. It's about the money. It's about a lot of things. Not about no experience. I just don't like my leg, yanked so overtly. I guess if nothing else. So I fully support it. I think that's great of them to take the feedback, realize people had some issues, get back to the drawing board and make it good. They handled that extremely well too. It's just that one line, and I know I'm nitpicking, and I don't mean any offense to James or anything like that. Because I know the natural reaction is to try and do some hand waving and try and like focus on that. And I'm fine with the spin, make it positive, because I think it is a positive thing. It means that anybody that backs Bloodstone in the summer will get a better thing because of it. And that's awesome. If they do it right. But I imagine they will, because it seems they're taking the feedback, really well. But don't tell me it's not about the money. It's about money too. It's about a lot of things. Money's part of it. That's okay. All right. Anyway, that's all I had. So Bloodstone is canceled. It will be coming back in the summer, they say. Though it depends. It was delayed like 2.5 years, as far as I can tell. So like these things take time, and they'll take the time to kind of internalize everything and restructure and do all that. And hopefully I'll be covering this again in the summer and tell you guys about all the new improvements and stuff that they did. And hopefully we can get a better game out of it. So anyway, that's all I wanted to add.
Moving on, we have Millennium War. You guys remember Millennium War? It's our favorite darling. It's back on Kickstarter. It's going to be a thing still. I have not. It's already a long scroll. I haven't looked in to see everything that's changed or what's changed. The renders look better, I suppose. So there's that. It's looking better. So they have stretch goals here where they're doing hero packs of 3 heroes each. That is a very skinny person. That's not how miniatures work. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Notice that it's not all black now. They did put the art, which is what I think all of us suggest. It's like, you got some kind of cool art. You should definitely put that on the box. They still kept the 1.0 though, which is hilarious. I don't know. Well, I'll is what it is, I suppose. Here's all the different. I think it sounds interesting. Like, I like the concept. We'll just have to see if these indie guys can pull it off or not, I suppose. We'll have to see, definitely. I guess these are the stretch goals. We'll have to see in the, how people react to it. That is a skinny weapon. Just putting it out there. Oh my gosh, that person's freaking cool. Again, I don't know how good these, what's all this ABCD stuff going on here for? I don't know. Is what it is. There's a lot here. It's definitely ambitious. I'll say that much. Definitely ambitious. So, that's a wizard. Okay. Anyway, that's a big old long thing. I'll look more into this. I'll let you guys know. And feel free to let me know too if you've noticed anything, if something's kind of jumped out at you. Again, I will link to this down below. Feel free to ask some questions. Like they are talking a lot in here, which is good to see, actually. And I think they took a lot of our feedback from last time, which again is also good to see. So we'll see how that ends up. That's cool art. Moving on from that, where am I? Almost done. Next up. Okay, let's talk about, I'll link to this guy's, this is Game Brigade. I'll link down to his interview. You can watch the whole interview with Toby. Toby is an awesome guy from Shadowborn Games who did Oathsworn. He did all the sculpt. He's a super nerd in the best of way. I've enjoyed my talks with him a lot. And a hard worker too, from what I can tell. He's always working every time I talk to him. So it's great to see him being able to, just kind of talk and not work. Though that is work, I guess, for him, huh? But it's probably fun work. One of the things and this is kind of what he's explaining here around at this timestamp. I'll go ahead and let you know what time to look. It's really right after the spoiler. So this guy, he did do a spoiler block. You will only go after the spoiler block for obvious reasons anyway. But they talk about the size. 3.5 Gloomhaven boxes is the all into Oathsworn. So the standee version of Oathsworn, where you still get the heroes in this scale. So this is a 45mm scale. This is some of their hips plastic. They already have new ones out in the normal gray. This is a darker gray. They were just trying things out, and they've improved the push fit on a lot of them. But this older version, same scale though, so you can see kind of how big they are. Here's, I guess, even a more old version with the priest there. But so they're like 45mm scale, and so you get those heroes. And there are quite a lot of heroes, and then standees for the monsters. And that is the size of a Gloomhaven box. It's either the size of a Gloomhaven box or it's half an inch larger. They will fit on a Calyx bookshelf, the Calyx cube. They made sure. So the dimensions there are right. It might stick out a little bit. I actually have my Calyx shelves pulled out from the wall ever so slightly, and I think it helps keep things flush a little bit easier. Anyway, if you get the miniature version, so all the miniatures that you fight, like the bosses and stuff like that, take up another 2. Of the same size. So there are 3 Gloomhaven boxes coming your way if you did the miniatures version. Then if you got the terrain, which is to scale for 45mm miniatures, which come with like the huts and the trees, and you can break those down into pieces, and even then, that's another half of a Gloomhaven box there. So 3.5 Gloomhaven boxes. I hope you were prepared. You might want to go ahead and sell out 5 games to make room. It's actually not as bad as Joan of Arc. It's not as bad as Batman. Let me look here. Let's see, Batman. Oh, no, actually, Batman, I have taken up about 2.5 or so. Mythic Battles Pantheon has taken up 3, so that's pretty close. Joan of Arc is taking up 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5. So, on this channel, I cover some big games here. This is no exception, apparently. But I did like hearing that they're keeping that, like, they understand a lot of people have Calyx shelves, and that's kind of the de facto storage solution. If you have a dedicated storage solution that, like, is just a repurposed item. So, that's kind of cool there. Okay, let's talk about Radlands. Radlands was part of a dispute, and it reminded me a lot of, Joan of Arc, actually, 1.5, where it was taken down, you couldn't access the Kickstarter, everybody's freaking out, right? I'm going to read to you what they said, and then I'll kind of explain some. They said, "Hello all, as you are already probably read, Kickstarter has seen fit to temporarily suspend the Radlands page post-completion due to a trademark allegation. At Roxley, we pride ourselves above all things on being passionate artists and game designers. We have always and will continue to operate with the highest level of integrity in regards to intellectual property. Radlands is completely original and was wholly incepted and created by Daniel and the Roxley Game Laboratory. Rest assured that there is no need to be concerned." That's what they said about Joan of Arc, by the way. "Nor the future of this incredible game. Our team is already working to resolve this situation as quickly as possible, and we will continue to update you regularly. Thank you for your ongoing support and trust. Gavin Brown and Team Roxley." Okay, so what was the issue here? Not 100%, mainly because a lot of this stuff hasn't divulged, and they haven't put an update out yet. But it is back, by the way. So they're whatever they've done, they've had the guy drop it. Okay, what we suspect is it's this guy here who has a post-apocalyptic game. I think it's a card game, but still a game called Radlands that uses a lot of purple and pink. Like a lot of purple and pink. Like that's what they do, is purple and pink, and it's kind of this steampunk kind of techno wasteland area thing, right? I mean, that's what this guy did. And then you go to this Radlands that's also called Radlands. It's a post-apocalyptic kind of Mad Max style thing that uses a lot of purple and pink. You can understand the issue here. I'm assuming that they've talked and have had some kind of mutual thing that'll make them both happy. In other words, the guy probably got paid off and got some money. Because that is a little on the nose for my taste. Now, I'm not saying they're going around like just wholeheartedly lifting stuff up. I'm not saying that at all. But when you combine the specific 2 colors with the specific name with the specific setting. Now, Radlands has been used in other things too. There's like really old Dungeons and Dragons stuff to make it be in the Radlands, right? The radiation lands of the post-apocalyptic thing is a term that's been used. It's not super common, but you can find multiple instances of it even well before either of these games. But the fact that there was a board game with the exact purple-pink outline in the exact same style with the exact same name, there is a lot of exacts there that are probably a bit too much for my taste. Now, I will say I have worked with artists, like directly with artists, as they are doing their art thing. And I've spoken with a lot of artists, and I've never met one that does it in a void. What I mean by that is, I've never met one that just like turns off everything and then just, does their art. There's normally, there's a reason why stuff like ArtStation is so big. There's a reason why Pinterest is so big and all these things. And it's because artists love seeing other people's art, love being inspired, and love doing their own take on things. Like, it's just a natural thing. And I think it's great. I think that's awesome. Do I think they actually went and found this guy's dinky thing? Because it's super dinky. I mean, you did have to kind of search for it. There's technically a Facebook group, very small. There's not a lot of people that did back this or anything like that. I think he posted this to show the timeline. Yes, this is an older game. There's a giant ant. I get that. I don't think there was anything malicious. But I'd be remiss to say that something that exact wasn't at least an inspiration somewhere. That doesn't mean you even have it in your head, but as an artist looking at different art and stuff like that, that's definitely something that that can manifest itself, right, in your own creations. Because we all pull off experiences and what we've done and stuff. I mean, when we talk about games, we all like, well, it's like this, but with this, right? And that's artists do the same thing. So I don't think it was malicious at all. If he did cause a fuss, I do think they should probably throw him a little bit of a bone. Just because technically he was there first. Now, I don't know if he registered a trademark or anything. I don't know. I do know that anything art you create is automatically copyright. Any picture you take is automatically copyrighted. You don't actually have to go and copyright it. It helps. It'll speed things along when you have to deal with somebody, but every single piece of art or uniqueness that you do like that has an auto copyright on it. Not names, but like his art would, right? So if I stole his art, well, that's copyright. He did that. That's just how that works. Same with theirs. Anyway, I think their art style looks way cooler, obviously, for very obvious reasons, I would think. And it looks like a cool game. I talked about this, and I still think it looks cool. And of course, it's kind of like a Rage 2 kind of thing too. It's even a Borderlands, right? There's a lot of inspiration, I think, in this, and I don't view that as a bad thing either. But when you have a specific name that has the exact same name as another game that has the exact same color scheme as you and setting, it gets a little odd. So it looks like they're able to keep Radlands though, so I'm assuming they made it happy. I just wanted to talk through that so you guys kind of knew what was going on. I am sure that they will write an update, and I will cover that update when they do it. I did not back Radlands yet. I might lay back it. I still haven't decided yet. When they post the update, do let me know if you can, and I'll add it for the next video. That, I'm done. That's it. That's enough, right? That's a lot. What you guys think? I just did a news video not too long ago, guys, and then all of this stuff happened, and it's been insane. Hopefully things will die down a little bit, but with Ragnarok launching and GameFound launching 18 million games by Peterson, what, 4 or 5? It's not that much. And he actually didn't design them all this time. But anyway. There's going to be plenty more news. So that's it. That's all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, if this was helpful, please do like and leave a comment. It helps a ton because it lets me know that me recording this on the weekend for you guys was worthwhile, that it helped you guys. That's what I want. If I'm not making videos for you, I'm not making videos. I don't make them for me. Right? I did this research on this Kickstarter before I ever started doing a video on it, but I figured if I'm doing this research, I'm looking into all this, I'm spending the hours it takes to just figure everything out and when stuff's launching and what's going on and why is there a copyright dispute there? Wait, they're using the same minis there and all that kind of stuff. I may as well do a video and share it for you guys so that you don't have to do that for hours. And so hopefully this does help you. I really hope it does. Either way, enjoy the rest of your weekend. I hope this video brought a little bit of joy to your weekend, and you can just coast on that to just enjoy the rest of it. Have a great rest of your week, or weekend, I guess, if you're watching it when I launch it. And I'll talk to you guys again really soon about what I think I'll be backing in the coming month. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. All right, guys, take care. See ya. Bye.